Imagine this. You spend an entire day furiously ticking boxes. Meetings line up like red lights. Coffee pours into your body like gasoline. At night you stare blankly at your accounts, the numbers barely move yet you feel hollowed out. On another day, you muscle a side project past midnight, convinced you ran a few extra miles, only to wake up like a towel that never dried, dropping your attention in fistfuls. And then there are those stringent self-improvement moments. The more courses you enroll in, the thicker your notes become. But every time you actually need to act, you hit an invisible wall inside. The common thread here isn't that you're not trying hard enough. It's that you've mistaken enjoyment for a luxury that makes people lie flat, and you've stuffed your life into a machine flogged forward by willpower. The more provocative question might be this: if the more you enjoy, the richer you become is true, is the way you currently rely on effort quietly dragging down your wealth curve? Reality doesn't reward rigid persistence. It favors sustainable focus underwritten by delight. When you genuinely enjoy a process, the viscosity of your attention naturally increases. The gap between learning and application compresses. The friction of repetition drops. And you're willing to show up again and again so your time settles by itself into regions of higher value density. Think of attention as a golden compass that hunts treasure on its own road into a field you truly love, and the needle will steadily point to the vine. Toss it into a field that moves only by brute force, and it spins in fall, occasionally bumping into returns, but mostly wasting motion. Another image, like brewing tea by temperature. If the water isn't hot enough, even the finest leaves won't release aroma, with too little enjoyment. Even your bright mind can't extract a rich concentration of knowledge and skill. What you call finally disciplined enough is often finally finding a source of enjoyment that keeps you returning. Of course, fake enjoyment is a master of disguise. Short spikes, quick rewards, high addictiveness like fireworks that flare and go dark, burning through your future attention budget. Deep enjoyment is a perpetual lamp, slow to warm, compounding, transformative. The longer it burns, the steadier it gets, condensing into outputs others can see and are willing to pay for. Works, models, services, results. When you give the highest energy 90 minutes of your day to such activity, you're not working less, you're aligning the compass with the gold vein, so your output naturally becomes tradable and compounding. What bankrupts people isn't enjoyment itself, but the impoverished, fragmented, fleeting kind of pseudo-enjoyment. What makes people wealthy isn't brute force, but tuning deep pleasure to the same frequency as value. So you're willing to stay in the compounding zone for a long time. Look back at your most substantial result. Almost all were born in a quiet yet searing flow. You forgot the clock. Time packed into a small knot. Your awareness drew out like lamp oil, and the fragrance rose on its own. In those moments, wealth doesn't arrive as a prize, but slips in as a side effect. You're doing the right things and enjoying them the right way. Your next step isn't signing up for more courses or installing new slogans of discipline. It's to discern and tame the temperature and direction of enjoyment, turning it from a hazy feeling into an engine that can be measured, trained, and converted into cash flow. From here on, turn enjoyment from a feeling into a tool. Make it a private quality control sheet and put 4 items on the same page as your energy trending upward. Is focus self-activating? Is time being compressed? And is the output tradable? When, around a given task, you keep experiencing a steadily improving mode instead of depletion. When your attention sinks in naturally instead of being whipped by willpower. When you often look up and think, how has so much time passed already? And when you leave behind results others can see and are willing to pay for, that is deep enjoyment. Otherwise, it's likely just fireworks-style thrills stealing from your future attention budget. Picture a graph with subjective enjoyment on the x-axis and objective value on the y-axis. The upper right is your golden zone activities you're happy to linger in and that keep producing. The lower right is the taming zone, things that are innately fun, but not yet valuable. pull them upward by raising difficulty, adding deliverables, and binding them to real use cases. The upper left is the reframe sound high value, but poor experience. Don't grit your teeth. Change the entry point, the partner, the rhythm, or the feedback so the cold task becomes a warm process. The lower left is the elimination sound. Have the courage to shut these off. They neither make you happy nor strong. To keep this picture from staying a daydream, run a 7-day sample. Every night before bed, spend 3 minutes noting the 2 things you enjoyed most and list that day. Roughly log your energy curve, immersion time, whether a shareable micro-unit emerged, and whether you'd willingly self-start again tomorrow. On the weekend, stack all 7 days. You'll see a few points that keep glowing. Those are the veins to double down on. You'll also see a few chronic leaks either. Reframe them or sunset them to enter the golden zone more easily. Design a small entry ritual, a specific song, a desk lamp, a hot drink to minimize startup costs. Give yourself a 10 minutes and done micro commitment so the opening resistance pops like the lip of a balloon with a gentle pinch. If the experience still feels stiff, tune the parameters, change the for whom, change the granularity so a task can close the loop in 45 to 90 minutes. Change the social layer by sharing the process with a small circle for instant feedback. Change the reward so each completion returns a small, real jolt of pleasure. Do a weekly review and refer metrics on a whiteboard, whether your average energy beats your own threshold, whether deep work minutes are unknown, or to build momentum, how many tradable units you produced this week, and whether the set of projects you want to self-start tomorrow is growing. As these numbers stabilize, you'll feel a long-lost steadiness, not busier, just truer. Next, turn true into revenue. Break your most enjoyable steps into sellable components. Then recombine them into a product ladder, letting them heat up in a loop between public distribution and real feedback. A writer can modularize titles, opening hooks, structural spines, quotables, and cases. An editor can package transition presets, color, grading lots, a BGM scene library, cover templates, and timeline SOPs into toolkits. A knowledge organizer can distill one-page summaries, practice cards, 72 challenges, glossaries, and tool checklists into collections. First, release a great starter bundle for free to educate, align, and attract. Then build a low-barrier workshop that solves a single acute pain, where real problems meet real wallets for the first time. After that, condense the systematic path, ongoing updates, and contextual coaching into a core product carried by a subscription or course. Finally, turn your unique golden zone ability into a high-ticket bespoke service, letting a few clients and high-density value amplify each other. Don't rush to build a perfect monolith. Ship the smallest usable version and let the market shine the edges. Don't only practice without publishing. That keeps your ability trapped in the echo chamber of self-admiration. Don't only publish without practice. Hollow packaging can support repeat purchases or word of mouth. Set a weekly cadence that lets the flywheel turn on its own. 1 to 2 days favoring input and sampling. 1. 2 days favoring output and public tests. 1 day for Q&A and data intake. 1 day to package modules, put them on the shelf, and log them in your content vault, and leave the weekend for life and replenishment so enjoyment refills the tank. When short content brings new people in, long content builds trust. Entry-level offers convert the first time. The core product keeps the relationship. And advanced services carry upgrades. You'll find that cash flow stops being a lucky visitor and becomes a friend who shows up on schedule. You can even pilot a micro cache right now. If you most enjoy writing opening hooks, spend 4 mornings drafting 10 each. Compile the 100 hooks into a free 100 pain point openers pack. Use performance data to pick the most clicked and share patterns. Use those patterns to write for essays and for scripting. And public test audience response from the questions in the comments. Produce a 2-hour mini class, from hook to structure to call to action. Then merge all materials and review sheets into the prototype of a system course, with templates and a case library. Finally, open a limited one-on-one co-creation track for those who want to go deep. There's no mysticism propping up this chain, the only fuel is the fire you genuinely enjoy and the steady heat it produces. From here, turn that spark into a steady heat source. Start with your attention. Stop treating it like a screw on an assembly line and start treating it like a basket of yield-bearing assets. The more you place it in high compounding contexts, the more it sprouts on its own. When you wake up, don't let messages tug you around like before. Stake your ripest block of clear morning time on the one task in your golden zone, letting it swallow your early doubts and distractions. Give the middle stretch to tough work that can become lovable through reframing, rounding its edges from a kinder angle. Reserve the evening for scattered communications and upkeep at the bottom of the basket, so small requests don't swallow your entire rhythm. You'll be surprised. So-called efficiency doesn't come from a tighter schedule, but from that first, decisive training. Enjoy first, then run. When the day opens in the right key, the following phrases fall into place on their own. When you start thinking about pricing, remember this: price isn't a number, it's a boundary statement. You fear rejection, so you push the price below your safety line. You don't earn love, you earn trust, because a low price often whispers, "I'm not sure it's worth it either." Real pricing is born of a clear value narrative. What specific pain do you solve? How much time do you save? How many mistakes do you help avoid? How clear a path forward do you provide? When the narrative is firm, price stops flickering like a flame in the wind. In conversation, don't rush to list features, describe the before and after. The walk across the bridge from chaos to clarity, from drain to gain. In delivery, set visible milestones and a felt cadence of feedback so people willingly move through each stage. Price, then, isn't the starting point for haggling. It's a mutual respect contract. It protects your attention and protects their expectations. You also need a social flywheel, but not one aimed at noise. Aim at resonance. Expose half transparently the part of the process you most enjoy and do best. How you think. Decompose and turn chaos into structure. When others draw a sense of order from your visible effort, they leave their scenarios and confusions in the comments. Those real problems aren't a burden, they're fuel for the next creation. Pull a small cluster of like-minded people into a space of building together. Iterate on their cases, and make the trials, choices, and postmortems of co-creation public so more people see this road can be walked this way. Algorithms favor interaction, relationships favor sincerity. The best proof of sincerity isn't a slogan, it's the posture of lighting the lamp on some early morning and sending the details anyway. Over time, your name bonds with a reliable experience. Growth in public stops relying on lucky spread and starts stacking on trust. Will this be exhausting? People ask. Deep work isn't what exhausts you. Boundary-less deep work is. Be a craftsperson and install thresholds. Spell out what counts as a reasonable request. Fix your response windows. Define urgent and prep your decline phrasing in advance. Many have-to tasks become shared rules once you speak up. Many relationships you feared losing actually stabilize because they're clear. At the same time, keep gray in complex situations. Don't split everything into black and white extremes. Don't rush to respond to every comment or each piece of feedback with equal force. Prune like a gardener, channel more sap into fewer buds. What truly should bloom will bloom bigger. To land these abstractions, picture real you. On a Monday morning, you set your phone face down on the top shelf. Put on a kettle to just right heat, and play the one song you only use for creating. Your desk holds a single document and a small lamp. You decide not to choose progress first. Instead, you write the opening sentence you most want to write until it makes you smile, and then use the smile's momentum to frame the spine of the whole piece. By midday, you re-enter a dreaded reconciliation task through a new door. No more staring at dense numbers. You draw a map of leaks, and every plug gets a thin gold line beside it. Only toward evening do you open social apps. Copy the 3 most valuable comments into your next episode question pool, and reply to other greetings politely but sparingly. By that end you're not euphoric, you're steady. That steadiness feels like an invisible river you can ladle from on every day that follows. Of course there are times when the flame weakens, creation spins, the product feels repetitive, interaction turns boilerplate. Don't let fuel get out. Meet someone who's genuinely benefited and listen to their before to after. Do something result agnostic. Polish your toolkit until it shines. Align your bookmarks. Reset the space so you want to begin. Write again plainly the answer to why am I the one to do this. Often the question isn't can you persist, but do you still believe this is worthy of enjoyment? When belief and enjoyment realign, cash flow returns like a tide on schedule. When only inertia and fear remain, even pretty short-term numbers collapse quietly around the bend. By now you have a channel from inner drive to outer realization. Your time is led by what you most enjoy. Your pricing stands on a clear story. Your social presence expands by resonance. Your boundaries straighten the riverbed. Your gray keeps the surface calm. Next, we'll compress it all into a 1-page execution sheet plus a 72-hour micro-challenge, so you can feel your first visible return on enjoyment equals productivity as fast as possible. Compress everything onto a single page and you've built an executable engine. First, right? Tonight, take 1 sheet of paper and run a temperature and value audit of your day. Not the one thing that truly lifted your mood. Drew your attention down naturally. Compress time without you noticing, and left a result others can see. Also note the one thing that drained you, scattered your focus, and felt like running in place. After each item, add 1 line about why. The more specific the better. For example, because a real person was waiting for my delivery. I didn't need to self-motivate. Or because I was avoiding what I should really be doing. I pretended to be busy. Next, tomorrow morning. Stake your ripest 90 minutes on that golden sun activity. Don't chase quantity. Chase the inner alignment where you write until you know it. Pair it with your entry ritual. That one song, that lamp, that hot water. Turn off every notification and place your phone face down. Out of sight when you finish. Don't clock out immediately. Spend 5 extra minutes to name and file today's tradable unit. Even if it's just a reusable opening line, a copyable color, grading, your UT, or our next episode question card. Drop it into your content folder, so tomorrow's you can reignite with low friction. Finally, shed, remove the bottom left quadrant, the pseudo enjoyments, and low value time from tomorrow's schedule. Even reclaiming 30 minutes is like pulling a leaking nail out of a barrel. Then set rules for the nibbling requests that devour attention. Define your response window. What counts as urgent? What is a reasonable request? And the sentence you'll use to ensure delivery quality. I batch messages at fixed times. Thanks for understanding. When write-to-share forms a closed loop on a single page, enjoyment stops being fuzzy and becomes trained productivity. Now run this engine for the next 72 hours. Day 1. Got those 90 minutes in the morning and produce 1 small, visible outcome you can finish today, even if it's only crafting an opener strong enough to give you goosebumps, or cutting a sequence that finally finds the right rhythm. Don't check numbers before noon. In the afternoon, ship it publicly or as a small beta and listen for real-world echoes. In the evening, write 3 lines of review, where your energy rose, what interrupted you, and which prep detail you'll ready next time. Day 2. Return to the same slide and add a half step. Extend the golden sun activity and create a derivative of yesterday's tradable unit. Turn text into a script. Script into a short video. Short video plus a 1-page action card. Push your boundary outward again. Move 1 low value but sticky habit out of the golden slide and down to the basket's bottom in the evening. Day 3. Hand the system to a real person. Have a reader complete a practice using your action card. Let a client walk the full flow under your sob. Ask a peer to run content through your template. Then do a 30-minute follow-up to record the friction and the gains. You watch enjoyment light up in someone else and feedback into your product and narrative. By walking produce gives distribute gives echo gives iterate steadily across 3 days. You cross from feels good to me to validated by the world. Enjoyment stops being a monologue. It starts speaking in cash flow. On this road, don't mistake harshness for maturity. Real maturity is clarity with gentleness. Be clear about what matters. Gentle with people. Being gentle with yourself isn't letting yourself off the hook. It's saving breath for the long game. You'll come to see that price is the language of boundaries. Rules are tools of goodwill. Slowness is the shape of ability. And compounding is enjoyment's sense of time. You'll also admit that occasional lows mean the whip needs trimming, not that you don't deserve light. Looking at the visible proof left by these 3 days, the sharper openness. The timeline that actually closed the loop. The message saying thank you for helping me see clearly. You'll feel a quiet certainty. Wealth isn't the prize you chase down. It's the finesse that settles naturally in the air after deep enjoyment burns in the right place for long enough. Keep this ballast line in mind. The more you enjoy, the richer you become, not an excuse for indulgence, but a compass for choice. Choose what you're willing to invest in for the long haul, and what helps the world become a little clearer. Now, back to you, in your life. Which pseudo-enjoyment deserves a gentle sunset? And which deep enjoyment deserves a 90-minute state tomorrow morning? Tell me your pick in the comments. And if you enjoy my channel, please subscribe. See you next time.